Greetings Midcoast Ukers, Jeff Weinberger here with another tutorial. Today I'm not so much going to talk about a particular song, but a group of songs that we do, some in our regular repertoire, some that were in our repertoire and have been kind of laying low. But I'd really like to address the subject of rhythm. Strumming is mostly what we think of when we think of rhythm, but of course that has to do with singing too, and sometimes picking. But rhythm is something that a lot of people feel they don't have a strong grasp on. I notice that the majority of students that come to me say, well, the one aspect of music that gives me the most trouble is rhythm. And then a very common thing, you might recognize yourself in this, but a lot of times people say, oh, I can't dance, I have 2 left feet, or I don't come from a very musical family, or I have no musical ability, or people think that of themselves. And while rhythm is, commonly a weak point in a lot of people's musicianship, it doesn't have to be. And so here we are on our journey to try to strengthen up our rhythm and try, no matter where you are level-wise, whether you're absolutely a beginner and you're just grappling with your first C and G7 and F chords, or if you've been playing ukulele for years now but you feel yourself that you don't understand rhythms as fully as you should, or that sometimes our song sheets are confusing to you because they have symbols on them like eighth notes and eighth rests and dotted quarter notes and things that are above and beyond what you feel you understand. I'd like to clear some of that stuff up today. So let's start with that first tune I played. That was Fish and Blues. You probably recognize the intro to that little instrumental picking thing that I do. But I don't so much want to show you that, but I want to talk about the rhythm in Fish and Blues. So what are we doing for a strum in Fish and Blues? We're just doing a shuffle, swing eighth note shuffle strum. You could do something even less complicated than that, or more complicated, but that's basically it. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And so what am I talking about when I talk about swing or shuffle? What do those two words mean? One way to understand shuffle is to think of the first strum as lasting a little bit longer than the second strum. It has this long short pattern to it that's really important to understand and to be able to perform and to incorporate into songs like Fish and Blues that are a blues tune, or anything that has that kind of bluesy feel, swing feel. We're not talking straight eighth notes being, of course, the kind that you would hear in classical music, like that's not swing. If it were swing, it would be like, but we generally don't play Beethoven with a swing feel like that, unless it's like some jazz musician doing their version of classical music, which I tend to not really like that much. When you try to take classical music and make it swing, it can be done though, obviously it can be done. You can make almost any music swing. So hopefully you at this point are understanding what I mean when I use those words swing and shuffle. So again, Fish and Blues has 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and has that very long short pattern to it. Pretty obvious. Not 1 and 2 and 3, not perfectly even. It's not like the 1 has exactly the same duration as the and. The 1 is a longer duration and the and is a shorter duration. It's not quite 3/4 of a beat and 1/4 of a beat. It's not that neat as of a fraction. It's actually based on, and I've explained this before, but just in case you missed it or need to hear this again, it's based on the triplet. Swing eighth notes are based on 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... What you do is you take out that middle note of the 3, that 1 and, get rid of that and just keep holding the number part of it, the 1, 2, 3, or 4. Keep holding that into the and then you actually do perform the So if a triplet is 1 and we're just playing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and you're not articulating the and. It's there and it's counted and it's held, but you're not actually strumming on the and part of it. If that doesn't make sense to you, try thinking of triplets as literally being triplet, 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 triplet. So the trip part, we're hitting trip. We're holding that into the part, and then the let is where we do our up strum. So triplet, 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 triplet. That is a lot closer to understanding swing eighth notes or shuffle eighth notes than perhaps the 3/4 of a beat, 1/4 of a beat example. It's not exactly that neat. It's not exactly 3/4 plus 1/4. It's more a triplet subdivided, as I was saying. So again, to avoid any confusion, if some of this goes over your head, check out what I'm doing here. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a triplet, 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 triplet lines up perfectly. So that's as far as anyone would need to go to understand swing eighth notes, is to understand eighth note triplets. I will put a link down below to a little graphic that I like to use with students. It's basically a chart that shows all the different rhythms in, or the basic rhythms in music, whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, etc. And it has them color coded. It uses purple and red and yellow and blue to show you the different rhythms. And I'll include that in this this tutorial so you can take a look at that and start to learn the difference between a half note, a whole note, a quarter note. Some of you have been doing this for years and you've known this since 3rd grade or something like that. And for others, maybe these concepts of whole notes, half notes, it's new to you. You just never really sat down and learned about rhythms in a proper way like that. But anybody can learn it. It's not something that you have to have understood by 3rd grade or something. We can learn this at 80 years old or wherever you are in your life. So hopefully that makes sense to you, the shuffle eighth notes. So that was Fish and Blues. Let's move on. Let's do Early Morning Rain. It's a folk song. It doesn't have a lot of crazy rhythms in it, but it does have an important rhythm that I wanted to talk about. So we have the song itself. Let me call it up here. Here we go. In the early morning rain, with $1 in my hand, and an aching in my heart, and my pockets full of sand. So there's the Gordon Lightfoot version, there's the Peter, Paul and Mary version, there's all kinds of great harmonies you can do, but essentially the rhythm of those words, of the singing, it's a very good example of the quarter note rest. So what happens is your vocal doesn't enter right on beat 1. You have to wait for beat 2 to come around. So it's like this: rest in the, so the in the early morning rain, in the comes on beat 2. That's why on the song sheet we have dashes there to show that the entrance of the vocal is delayed by 1 beat. Rest in the early morning. I'm rounding off. It swings a little more. I'm straightening it out and oversimplifying just to illustrate, but 1. In the early morning rain. You would never sing it that stiff. I'm just, again, it's for demonstration purposes. So that rest is on beat 1. Rest. In the early morning rain. And then the word rain falls squarely on beat 1. So follow along with me if you can. Rest. In the early morning rain. Rest, 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 rest. With $1 in my hand. Rest, 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 rest. And an aching in my heart. Rest, 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 rest. And my pockets full of sand. Rest, 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 rest. So rests are basically musical silence. A rest is represented in written music with a lot of different symbols. You have squiggly lines and dots and all these things that represent rests. You don't have to understand the written language for rests. You just have to understand what they feel like and what they mean to you in playing a song. So we're not diving into deep music theory and deep music notation here. We're just trying to get a nice basic understanding of rhythms that are useful for ukulele strummers like us. So Early Morning Rain, you're resting on beat 1 and your vocal entrance happens on beat 2. Rest. In the, so right there, in the is beat 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So every time beat 1 seems to roll around, we're not singing. We have to wait until beat 2 to enter with the different lines of this song. That might not be universal for the whole song, but the beginning of the song, it definitely applies. So does that make sense? Where you're resting on beat 1, you don't sing anything on beat 1, you wait until beat 2 to enter with your vocal. So that's the concept of a rest. Musical silence. It's kind of a placeholder. You still have that beat. Beat 1 exists, and you're strumming your ukulele on beat 1. You just don't sing on beat 1, or you would have sang too early. You have to wait 1 beat extra. All right, so we had Fish and Blues. We had Early Morning Rain. Let's get into 4 Strong Winds here. Let's see. So 4 Strong Winds. You all know that one. 4 Strong Winds is a really good example of a pickup measure. This is usually a note or two, or sometimes more, but usually it's just a note or two that happen before the downbeat. And in 4 Strong Winds, the words 4 strong are the pickup. And then winds comes in on the downbeat, right on downbeat 1. And basically that's what downbeat means, is beat 1. But oftentimes it means beat 1 of the first measure of the song. So you got these couple of introductory notes known as pickup notes that happen on beats 3 and 4. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Imagine my hand being a metronome here, and it's going click, 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 click. 1, 2, 3, 4. Click, 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 click. So it's kind of like a human metronome there, what I'm demonstrating. And so 4 Strong Winds, that's a pickup measure. 3, 4, and then finally comes 1. 4 strong is kind of an introduction to winds that blow lonely, 7 seas that run high. So you've got notes that don't always happen on the downbeat. Songs don't always start right on that downbeat. Sometimes they happen a little bit before the downbeat. And there are plenty of examples of that. But 4 Strong Winds being a Midcoast Ukes song from our song list, I figured I'd use that as the example. So again, rest, rest, 4 strong winds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So pickup notes, a pickup measure, stuff that happens before the downbeat. Very important concept. We'll probably do more examples in the future and go over that more, but I just wanted to at least introduce the concept to you and get you started with that. All right, and the last Midcoast Ukes example I want to use for rhythm is Iko Iko. That has tons of rhythm. It has New Orleans rhythm in it. Without even getting into the vocal. My flag boy and your flag boy said da 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 da. That all is lots of rhythm, and the strumming has lots of rhythm. But just that percussion part that we do, that by itself illustrates quite a bit of rhythm. In case you're not sure the context of that, where that fits in the beat, here's my foot tapping. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have eighth notes. Then we have a couple 16th notes and a tie. I do not expect you to understand 16th notes nor ties at this point, but just know that the first few hits that we do there are 1 and 2 and. 1 and 2 and 3. So we can make it that far, we can make it halfway into the measure before it gets super tricky. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. But after that, of course, it gets tricky. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3. Da-da-da-da. You probably understand the da-da-da-da part of it. You just might not know exactly how that's counted. And I'm not here to explain that to you today. I just want you to understand the first half of that rhythm. 1 and 2 and 3. Da-da-da-da. 1 and 2 and 3. Da-da-da-da. 1 and 2 and 3. Here's the 1 and 2 and 3 against a foot tap steady beat. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 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 3, 4. Not so bad when you break it down to just eighth notes. That's fine. It's easy to understand. So remember, eighth notes are 2 notes for every tap of the foot. One of them happens when your foot taps, the number, and one of them happens when your foot lifts, the and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Notice how when my foot goes down and I say the number, my hand goes down and I strum down. Notice how when my foot comes up and I say the and, I strum up. So your foot and your hand are in perfect sync together. Alright, so I have lots of other examples from our repertoire. I will make a part 2 of this video for next time, and that will include maybe Dancing in the Moonlight, or there's so many songs that we have now. We've done lots and lots of songs together, so we have lots of examples. But there's a few quick examples for you today, and then we'll look at ours. Alright, Midcoast Ukers, you take care, and I will catch you later. Bye-bye.